Well, you might earn more with these new ranked hotspots, but we need to find out in this video, is this actually going to help you make more money if you're driving for DoorDash? This just came out, so really within the last 24 to 48 hours, this new ranked hotspot feature as a DoorDash dasher. But what are hotspots? How do I use it? How do I even use this to make more money? Now, this is the first time you and I are meeting. My name is Mike. All I do is help you make money in different side hustles. I've been dashing since 2018. I've been doing gig work since 2015. So I have some experience and in different marketplaces. So you're in the right place. Drop a like on this video. Appreciate you being here. Let me know where you're watching from. Hotspots. From the company, they say, well, it's an area within your dashing starting points that indicates the busiest areas for orders. You will generally see hotspots near areas with many restaurants. To increase your chances to receive more orders, simply position yourself closer to a hotspot. There you go. That's all you need to do, right? Hotspots are meant to guide you to busy areas, and they are consistently refreshed throughout the day. Like 10 minutes or so. It depends. You can let me know. It'll say, hey, hotspots refresh in 10 minutes, in 5 minutes, whatever it is. So take a look. That is what we call power strips. Generally areas that are really dense with restaurants or just offers, but restaurants in this case because you're doing food delivery. So it's denoted there with the flame icon. We see a little outline as well. Now, if you're driving for DoorDash, your entire marketplace, it's broken down into smaller sub marketplaces. So when you're driving, you'll see these hotspots and you want to know, okay, is it worth going there, right? Now, that verbiage that we use, that power strip, as we call it, that can be found here. It's on our free bundle. It's our terms and strategies guide. There's also a rankings guide where I rank a lot of these side hustles based on almost 10 years of experience. That's at yourdrivermike.com/bundle. You'll get the rankings guide. You get the terms and strategies guide. Sign up for that as well as our newsletter, both $0, wonderful cost. So there's two different types of DoorDash hotspots if you didn't know. Number one, dynamic hotspots. So this is the app telling you it's currently busy in this area. That's important because that power strip that I told you, areas that are really dense with restaurants, that's based on your knowledge of your marketplace. You know your marketplace. What areas, plazas, little parking lots, shopping areas, what are the power strips in your marketplace? You're going to know that. So use your market knowledge combined with these hotspots. Now this one, it's an actively busy area. So quotes currently has a lot of orders. Now dynamic hotspots have a red area around it highlighting that zone, as you can see here in this example. Now there's also historical hotspots. It has a flame icon. It's based on the recent data, but it's not actually getting a higher volume of offers. So there's no red outline. It's just a flame icon. Based on prior data, recent data, that's a historical hotspot. So there you go. In a couple of minutes, those are hotspots on DoorDash. And it can help you make more money because that's where typically it's gotten more orders, or statistically right now they're getting more orders. So you want to pay attention to those hotspots. Now what's new though, new ranked hotspots. What is this? So this just went out to dashers again in the last day or so. Check your email. If you don't get a lot of emails, you can always reach out to support. Say, hey, the email that's on my account, am I signed up for notifications? Maybe I opted out some time ago. I don't know. If you want to, be in the know from not just DoorDash, but any gig app, because I help you with a ton of different gig apps in this side hustle and gig economy, make sure to opt in for those notifications. Now, this just went out 24, 48 hours ago. Let me know in the live chat, or if you're watching in the replay, if you've gotten this email. Let's go over it. Check it out. I actually got this here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So do you have, number one, ranked hotspots? Let me know right now in the live chat, in the comments. Let me know if you have ranked hotspots. Number two, if you have it, or even if you don't have it, do you think it would help you make more money? Well, Mike, I don't know. I got to see what it is first. So stay tuned. Let's go over this together. I got this. Dash smarter, skip the crowds. We heard your feedback. Hotspots can get way too crowded. Saturation. So think about this. If it's like based on proximity, man, I don't know. Is it based on my Dasher rating? Is it based on this and that? At least in part, proximity to the merchant, store, restaurants, hotspot. So DoorDash is like, well, we get it. You know, sometimes it gets really crowded at these hotspots. Well, they did this to maybe combat that. That's why we're testing a limited time pilot that highlights the best hotspots to keep you busier as you hit the road. I mean, already starting right there, the best hotspots, keeping you busier when you're on the road. Both of those things would mean you're making more money, but let's continue. You'll notice that the old busy hotspot zone label is being replaced with a more helpful real-time descriptions designed to give you clearer views of what to expect before you dash. So in that sub marketplace that I told you about, it's a little, sub marketplace area in your marketplace. It'll say things like this: busy hotspot zone. Now that's changing, of course, as we can see here with these new descriptions. So let me show you what these rankings are and if it'll, actually matter, right? This is what they did. You'll now see real-time updates on hotspot activity, including here's the rankings. Lean into this. If you can, just drop a like on the video real quick. Get to your phone, laptop, TV, whatever. Like half of viewers pretty much are on TV now. Pretty crazy. I see you. Thank you for watching on TV and putting me in your living room or kitchen or wherever. Best spot. They're saying straight up, best spot. And let's go over all of them right now, what it means to you. Best spot means more dashers needed. Good spots, more dashers needed. Okay. Crowded, some dashers needed. Most crowded, few dashers needed. Well, you're like, if it's crowded at all, I don't really want to be there, because you just said if it's crowded, isn't that the whole point, to make these hotspots not crowded? Hotspots are areas that are getting more offers. So what do I do if it's crowded? They say, even if a hotspot is marked as crowded or most crowded, being nearby, listen to this, still gives you a better shot at getting offers faster than if you weren't near any hotspot at all. Let me repeat that. I don't think I've seen something in recent memory that is talking about, listen, you'll get more offers straight up if at least you're nearby a hotspot versus if you weren't by one at all. So this kind of doubles down on how important hotspots are. Now, yes, I know this is directly from DoorDash, by the way, folks. I agree with it. I still want you, and still, what I do, and this isn't just on DoorDash, I still use my market expertise. And it's great to have the data, but I also lean into the areas, the power strips that I know work. But let's go back to the actual rankings here and how we're going to use this. Here's the old versus new hotspots. So look on the left. we can see that new tag. It'll say something like best hotspot, more dashers needed. Now they're both hotspots, but then the old one might just say, hey, it's a busy hotspot. And they all basically said busy hotspot. Remember DoorDash said like, oh, the old busy hotspot is going away. That's what they mean right here. When it says busy hotspot on the right, that's going away. And it's moving in favor of this, the levels, where it'll give you more information. So here's the actual rankings and how I would use this. There's one thing that I noticed from this, and it's great that they're giving us the data, but look at what's most important. This is not, listen to this, this is not a rankings of which hotspots is getting more offers. This is not a ranking of which hotspot has higher paying offers. So frequency, like, oh, if you go to this hotspot, it's ranked better, you're gonna get more choice. And then it is also not a higher payout on average from this best hotspot over the worst hotspot. It is strictly based on dasher supply. So the best hotspots simply means they need more dashers. Best spot, more dashers needed. And how are they measuring best? And again, I know it's not worst, but it kind of is. It just says simply crowded and most crowded. This is not a scale or a ranking of money per se, but it's a ranking of saturation, of the crowdedness of dasher supply from most crowded to least. Now, if you're asking, well, how does this make me more money? I mean, DoorDash even said this might help you and make more money as a dasher. How though? So here's what I would do. Here's kind of the rankings again. If I'm looking at best spots, the only thing that I'm going to consider with a best spot hotspot is cool. There might be less dashers grabbing at the orders. There may be less orders that have to be spread out amongst dashers, which means I might have more choice. Here's the best case scenario. Let me know if you agree with this. The best case scenario is you have an underpopulated and underserved hotspot, which means like it's the best spot. There's not a ton of dashers there. And then it's combined with what you know to be a very busy hotspot. This is not measuring how busy the hotspot is. It's measuring how many dashers, that's it basically, are at that hotspot. So if you can find both of those things, let me know if you agree with that. If it's a best spot, which means it's not like completely saturated basically, and in your own expertise, it performs well in those two categories I mentioned, the volume, so it can send you offers, there's enough offers. Customers, like how would you measure that? Okay. Customers are choosing that power strip plaza, right? Customers are choosing the restaurants, stores, etc. in that hotspot or power strip. So that's volume. If they only like one restaurant out of 7 in that plaza, it might not be the hotspot that gives you the most offers. It can still be a good hotspot, a good power strip. But if like customers love ordering from 4, 5, 6 out of those 7 restaurants, it's going to give you more volume. Combine that with if the power strip or hotspot, ideally, no one really talks about this. I mean, this is why you want to subscribe. If not, I mean, just that's fine, but consider subscribing. If you already are, thank you. And we're a team here. I want to bounce some of these ideas off of you. If it's not all fast food, and it's like when these plazas come together, there's usually an anchor store, what's called. If there's like shops, that's fine. But typically there's an anchor store, like the biggest, most popular, like a Staples or McDonald's or whatever it is. Now, the other stores in that plaza, if it's all other fast food, even local, it might have a smaller basket size. So a basket size is the average dollar amount that a customer is ordering. So think about that as well. I think about that. I think about power strips, but then it's just that Wendy's, there's a Taco Bell, there's a Subway, there's like no other restaurants. It's going to be a lower basket size. And then here's the tie into this. I would use this simply for volume, simply for Dasher supply. Do I think hotspots are the most important thing you need to look at on DoorDash? No. And I know they just said earlier, look, they say right here at the bottom, at least being near a hotspot will get you better offers faster. Well, I can't say better. It says a better shot at getting offers. I mean, yes and no. You can always let me know. Do you always camp and wait by one of these dynamic or historical hotspots? If you forget what that is, just rewind the video. I don't. Now, what happens sometimes is your own power strips can be the same as a DoorDash hotspot. And basically, you both agree. You think, like, I think that plaza is really busy. And then DoorDash's data says that's a hotspot, which means you probably picked a pretty good place to wait. And then again, our tie-in here is to use this simply for volume. So if I look and it says best hotspot, that's even better because you know that plaza is busy, but then it's also underserved because it's the best hotspot. Remember, the ranked hotspots, these new ranked hotspots, seemingly, at least, this is the first time we're seeing this here, seemingly it's only really based on supply. More dashers needed, or we got enough dashers. So don't necessarily think one or the other is going to make you more money. So to give you my verdict, let me summarize that one more time. Let me put everything together here, A to B, of how to use these ranked hotspots. So to reiterate, use your market expertise, your power strips. You know your marketplace best. I know they got data and this and that. Lean on the data. I mean, because their data, it's a ton of orders. And your recollection is just that. It's kind of anecdotal, like it's your own opinion. So sure, lean into that, your local expertise, but also lean into their data. And then lastly, this is kind of like the cherry on top. Would I tell you to leave a crowded or a most crowded hotspot? Probably not. Why? Because these hotspots, the little red shape, right? They're typically like, at least, what do you think? 5 to 8 minutes apart in the sub marketplace. They're not like blocks away. Some, because you can see here, they're covering several blocks. So it could be kind of close, but it's going to be more commuting miles, driving around, etc. So if the one that you're typically waiting at is crowded or mostly crowded, no, don't leave just because it says crowded or mostly crowded. You might see a slight drop in volume, maybe, but I've continually driven for years in the same general areas, and I know which areas work. And you should know, again, your power strips, generally areas that'll work and get you offers. Now, if you're brand new, maybe, unless you're new to the city, if you're newer to a city, you're not going to know, obviously, the marketplace. Then you can lean into this a little bit more, maybe cross-reference it to what other apps are doing, if there's any bonus pay or multipliers, surge, or whatever on Grubhub, Uber Eats, you can use that if you happen to be new to a marketplace. But my verdict on this, I don't think it's a huge update for you. I think it shines a little bit of light into driver supply, which is fine. I know sometimes drivers want to see, well, I would love it if it showed me there's like 15 or like little icons on the map or something, dashers nearby that would really help me out to see that. They're not going to show you that, but they're showing you this. they're at least showing you, well, this hotspot you're waiting at. Remember, this is kind of interwoven here. I really want to lean on this. Hotspots, they're busier areas intrinsically based on their data. Remember this. The hotspot, it's a busier, and when it's red like this, it's a dynamic hotspot. So they're actually getting more offers right now. So don't be scared away of running away from a hotspot just because it's crowded or mostly crowded. Statistically, and that's what DoorDash says right here at the bottom, you at least want to be by a hotspot. I just wouldn't rely on them. I would use my own knowledge. And frankly, when I dash, I already know where all the hotspots are because it, aligns with a lot of the places that I already drive anyway. And you'll probably see the same thing for you. Over time, yeah, there might be some hotspots that pop up and they're less frequent, like they go away. But I would imagine, you can let me know if this is what you find. Hotspots are probably going to be the same repeating areas of your marketplace. Like this area is always busy. That place is always busy. So you'll start to get used to where those hotspots are. But let me know what you think. Quick update for you, somewhat. There's kind of more deep insights into how to use hotspots and specifically ranked hotspots in this video. So let me know what you think. Would this influence you to drive more or less in these hotspots?